I'm
Gemmy Fan,
and this is my
Gemmy Master Animatronics.
I work here.
Joe being videos.
Drew 65.
Everything in here has
Split gears.
and a
Trade with crystals.
one thing I've learned after 21 years, you never know what
Variant of the Gemmy animated Talking Douglas fur.
is going to come through that door.
Hey guys, it's the Gemmy Fan here on Gemmy Master Animatronics, and what we have here today is something really awesome to show you. And not only is this something that's really awesome to show you, but it's something that is going to be in a future restoration, starting now. This is the Rob Zombie model of the Michael Myers, which is also known as the first generation Michael Myers, because clearly there's a gigantic difference between the Rob Zombie and the H2O Michael. And by the way, he actually had to sell him in order to buy some more life sizes. So unfortunately, I had to sacrifice one to buy 3 others, including that Michael. So it was completely worth it, and I'm sure I'll find another one someday for fairly cheap. But I will say, I'm not going to say who this is going to, but I will say it's going to go to someone on this channel. You'll see an official review from that in the next couple months, I'm sure, maybe a couple weeks. But anyways, it's not about that one. It's about this one. Now, I will demonstrate this for you, and some of you out there are going to be like, oh, well, what's wrong with it? It's fine. It works great. Not to my standards, I'm sorry. So I am going to go ahead and show you what he actually does currently and what I plan on doing to him in the next couple hours here. Because in an estimate of how much time this is going to take, it's probably going to take about an hour to do both of the things that are needed to be done on it. But I'll go ahead and show you real quick. That does work. But as you can see, he doesn't do the body turn, and the head is really kind of out of whack. The gear is split in there, and it's kind of jamming up the mechanism, making it kind of a lot more louder, and kind of makes it grind a little bit. So those are the 2 things I'm going to fix in this restoration. I got them for $125 along with 2 other ones, which you probably may or may not notice in this particular video. And I will be doing restorations on those as well. Well, maybe one other one. I don't know about the other one, but we'll see. So we're going to start off by actually taking this body apart. I'm not going to fix the head until last, because that's kind of the least of my concerns. That'll take about 5 minutes just to pop a new gear in there. But we are going to take apart the body here and put a new gear in there, because obviously it doesn't move at all. So yeah, I'll get back to you on the next part. Alright, so now what you'll have to start out by doing, you're going to have to remove this bottom plate right here on the head mechanism, which is actually now completely disconnected from the motor because the gear slid up on the shaft as soon as I made this video. Which is kind of funny because we had to replace it anyways, but now we can guarantee that it's broke. But yeah, you'll have to start out with removing this ring, which has 4 screws on it. And after that, you'll be able to slide the mechanism out, just this head mechanism now, fairly easily. See, then you can actually get to the body. So I'll come out with that in a second. Also, I forgot to mention, after you do this, you'll definitely need to remove this frame, which has 4 screws, 2 screws on each side. You can see right there with the little washer screws. Remove those 4 screws first, because then you'll have easy access, and you'll have to remove it anyways to get to the second part of the mechanism, which you can hear. Actually it was jammed up, but that has a split gear too, so we have to replace that, and we have to get this off. Alright, so now as you can see that I've removed the 4 screws and took the ring out, which is right there. It'll look like that once you take it off. We now have access to the mechanism, the lower body mechanism first. Highly recommend fixing the lower body first before you fix the head. I mean, obviously you could do one or the other in whichever order you prefer, but I prefer going to the hardest ones first, and then when you it's just easier to get to. But also keep in mind is that when you're sliding out, you're also pulling on that wire, so make sure it has enough leverage to just come before you just snatch it out like that. And also keep in mind that some snatch out very easily, and some just snatch out like it'll take pliers and an extra hour of your time just to slide it out. I don't know. Some are like that, especially Jason. He's definitely one that had some issues with getting that ring out or that mechanism out. So yeah, once you got all that out, then you take these 4 screws out, which this is the hard part, and I would recommend getting another person to hold this frame for you while you're getting the second ring off, so that way you have easier access and you don't have to hold that excess weight so any wires won't pull off as well as you get what I'm saying. But yeah, so now what we're going to do is remove these 4 screws, and then we'll have access to this lower mechanism right here. So there we go. Alright, so once we've removed those 4 big screws, now this is exactly what you'll see, which is the bottom half of the body mechanism. Now please pay attention to what I'm about to say here. The way this lines up is exactly the way you need to line it up afterwards. And a lot of people get this confused because these screws, see how they're spaced out onto some ends and they're uneven on others? That needs to be exactly like this. So your best bet would be to like take a picture of it before you actually reassemble it, just to make sure you don't get anything tangled up or mix match or anything, because then you'll have it on backwards and that's not fun at all. So then, anyways, aside from that, surprisingly this one just kind of sat up against the other part of the body, so I guess I don't need anyone to really hold it for me while I do this, but I still got to be careful nonetheless. So now I guess you'll actually have to remove these 4 screws, which unleashes the second ring, or whatever you want to call it, and then you remove this big screw, which actually gives you access to the gears and everything else. And I checked the motors and all the motors are okay, so I don't really think I'll have to replace any of those. I might have to in Jason, but we'll see about that at a later time. So yeah, once I remove this ring and the actual cover here, I'll show you guys the inside of the mechanism. Oh, and also keep in mind that the head mechanism and the body mechanism are the same thing. They're just structured differently. So yeah, just thought I'd throw that in there. Okay, so as you can see, I got this removed, and what you'll have to do now is remove these smaller screws to lift off this plate here, which contains the gear, which we'll need to obviously replace. Now to do so, you're going to have to get a screwdriver with a lot smaller fitting, a Phillips screwdriver with a very, very small fitting to fit these screws. Because if you try to use a standard, although you could, but you're at a greater risk for stripping these screws. And let me tell you something, guys. Once you strip it, you cannot go back. They will stay permanently stripped, and you will never get this thing open without being forceful and end up breaking the entire mechanism. So just don't even try, guys. Even if that means waiting a couple days to go to Ace Hardware and find yourself a decent screwdriver that actually fits this type of screw, just be patient and do it right. You know what I'm saying? And you know, oh man, I forgot what I was gonna say. It was something important. Anyways, I'll probably remember it in the next clip. Oh yeah, what I was saying is that when you get something and you're like, oh, it works fine, it makes a couple clicking sounds, it's alright. If you want to fix it right, you got to take your time and do everything possible. Replace gears that you think are about to split, or replace gears that are obviously split. But if you hear it clicking, guys, and it still works and you're like, oh, okay, it's fine, it's going to split eventually and you'll still have to do the work. So personally, my personal opinion is that I choose to do it beforehand, before it gets worse and ends up splitting completely. So if you hear some in the eyes or hear some in the torso with it kind of splitting but it still moves perfectly, just go ahead and replace it, guys. If you're gonna do it, just do it right. That's all I could say. Alrighty, guys. So there's that little split gear. Of course, it causes the entire thing to break down, like I've gone through several times. So as you can see, that is a 10-tooth gear, and 100% of the time the body turns and the heads require a 10-tooth gear. Very, very rarely do they ever require a 9-tooth. As a matter of fact, you can use a 9-tooth, but it's going to be extremely noisy, although it'll still work. It's just for better connection and easier or smoother connection with the mechanisms, it's best to just use a 10-tooth. So yeah, let's get that new gear in there. Alright, now that we got the body turn fixed, now to move on to the head. And as you can see, I'm already a step ahead because I removed the ring. So now all you have to do is remove this middle screw, and then of course you'll get to the same plate, because like I said, it's the same exact process. Once you know how to do it for the body, it's the same exact thing for the head, so you're pretty much good to go afterwards. As you can see, it works great actually. Alright, so now that we're inside the head mechanism, this is what most commonly happens with these guys. What happens is that the gear completely splits to the point... Hold on, let me realign this real quick. This gear in particular. It'll take me a minute. There we go. Anyways, what I was saying is that this particular gear, the 10-tooth gear, it splits and then it stays like that for a while and just makes loud clicking noises. But eventually, with enough use, it slides up on the shaft, and as you can see, it does not make contact with the other gear. So then it just sits there and buzzes, and I'll give you a prime example of what I'm talking about. Just like that. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about that. So once we get that gear replaced, he's pretty much good to go, because for the arm, nothing is wrong with it, absolutely nothing, which I'm very thankful for, because I can tell you, I had one hell of a time with that Michael right there trying to get his arm fixed, which I did eventually because I came up with a different type of mechanism to fix it, or to at least partially fix it, whatever you want to call it. It still moves up and down, that's all I care about. But this one is in definitely better condition than the last. Alright, as you can see, I popped the new gear in there, and let's see how quiet it sounds. Much better, for sure. And another thing I forgot to point out, and this goes for the body turn and the head mechanism. You see the two screws right there that's bolting to the motor to the cover plate here? Make sure to go back and tighten those up, because those things actually tend to get loose over time, and that's what also causes the loudness of the mechanism. For instance, like if you hear it like grinding or something like that, it's because the motor's out of place, or if it's slipping out of the little pocket that it's inserted in. So just make sure to double check that as well. So there you have it. This is a fully restored 2009 Rob Zombie Gemmy animated life-size Michael Myers. They call this the Rob Zombie version because of the particular movie that it was produced in, or the format it was produced in. But yeah, now here's a little description of the item. I bought this at an antique store in a lot of 3 life-size animatronics for $125 a piece. So total spent was like $375, which is not bad at all, because he was originally asking $450 for this and 2 other ones that you will see in the near future. But I hope you guys enjoyed that restoration video. I tried to do it as quick as possible, but at the same time you guys will still get the gist of what I actually had to go through to restore this thing. So I'm going to go back by saying it just needed a new gear in the torso of the body turn, and then it needed a new gear in the head, and that was just about it. Yeah, it's really cool that I've actually found this guy for a really decent price. I'm more than thankful to find something like that. But unfortunately, these were the last 3 that the owner had. So I'm pretty much kind of SOL on that one. But I did get a majority of the horror characters. The only one I actually missed that he actually used to have was Hannibal Lecter. He sold the previous Halloween for $75, guys, and you know, more than ever, I would have loved to pick that up. But that was before they started calling me, letting me know what kind of characters that they had in stock. Yeah, I'm really grateful to have this guy. And unfortunately, I had to sell my H2O Michael to get this guy and 3 others. I sold him for $300 to a fellow collector that's actually on this channel, and I will leave it up to him to review this item, because he's also going to do an unboxing. You can guess all you want to who it's going to be, but we're not going to reveal it until he receives the item. So that'll just be left up to him to review. But I will include a demonstration of both of these next to each other, and while in demonstration I do actually have an old video of that. But I will throw that in there. Yeah, I really hope you guys enjoy this restoration. I guess I'll play it a couple more times. He has a lot more of a higher pitch record or audio recording than the rest, which is really cool because I kind of liked it. And I have to say, this is probably my second favorite out of all the ones that I've purchased from him in the past. It's truly is awesome for sure. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about it. So I guess we'll play it one more time before we end this review. So there he is, guys, and I also forgot to mention that he came with the original Try Me button for the store display Try Me button from that year. I was told by Donovan that this is actually the original store display button, as you can see, and I believe that probably stuck to a one of their displays that they once had, which is really, really cool. And it's about 8 feet long, and I'll probably use this for a majority of my life-size demonstrations, so I don't actually have to go over there and press it. So it's really convenient, so that's pretty awesome. I got that for free thrown in there. But overall, guys, I really hope you guys enjoyed this restoration, and this basically concludes this video from here. So hope you guys enjoyed, and thanks for watching.